So is it Willy for William or Willy for just Willy?
Well, it's Willy for William, but not Willy for Willem.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. It's good having you around, my brother. You grind in the same space with me in property, but you do something else that's totally different. And Willy, the full name is Willy Kalala. And what does Kalala mean? That's a bit of a fascinating name there.
Well, remember, we are all African. Whenever
Right.
your parents decide to name you, they name you after, whether it can be an event, whether it can be another person. But Kalala means a boy. It's Willy Kalala Ngalula, a boy that is born after 4 girls.
All right. All right.
Yes, exactly.
So
I was born after 4 girls. Then I was given that name.
Okay, interesting. I remember when I used to travel in West Africa, and the guys they are given names. So you know, you see Kwame everywhere, and you're like thinking Kwame is such a common name. But basically, what they do in West Africa, particularly in Ghana, for every day there is a name. So you could be Arnold something, you could be an Arnold Jack, but your second name now becomes Kwame, because Kwame identifies that you were born on a Thursday or on a Saturday, whatever the case is. So we never stop learning. Thanks for that education, man.
I appreciate it, man.
Who is Willy, and where does he come from, and what does he do?
Willy Kalala is a traveler, as you said, but also he is a property investor. Originally, I'm from DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo.
Really?
Yes, residing in SA for more than, will I say, 18 to 20 years. So I will say I am half South African, half Congolese, because my family right now, my wife, she's South African from the province of KwaZulu-Natal, and I have 1 beautiful boy. So
man, we've got something in common. And my wife is also from KZN.
Oh, okay.
And I always tease people to say, you know, there was no need for me to import.
Not at all.
Yeah, local is lekker.
Yes, exactly. As we always say, travel local and local is lekker. So
awesome.
Exactly. That's Willy, if I can put it that way.
Right. And I've been to Congo, Brazzaville, and I did some work there in the late mid-90s. And the company that I was working for, we took a 224 tonner of what is this thing called? Mopani worms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they were sourced out in the south of Zimbabwe in Bulawayo, and they were brought into no man's land in just between Zambia and Congo, and we had a military escort from no man's land all the way to Lubumbashi. I don't remember the hotel that we stayed in.
Actually, I'm from Lubumbashi.
Really?
I'm telling you.
Okay. And whilst we were there, my idea of selling the consignment was that we were going to get there and leave the consignment and come back with the money. That's what was in my head. I didn't know that when we get there, we were actually going to be selling off the truck.
Wow.
And a trip that was supposed to be a 4 or 5 days trip ended up to be a 3 weeks trip, because we actually had to wait for the money to come back. But Congo, it's a different country for me. At the time, it was ripe with war. But things have stabilized now, right?
Yes, actually, the new president is doing very well.
Yeah.
And we believe by the end of this year, there shall never be again war in DRC.
It's a beautiful country.
Just to come to what we have mentioned about the Mopani worms.
Yeah.
I mean, all these years, more than 5 to 7 years, I've been traveling to Zimbabwe. I remember whenever we go to Vicforce, and there is this buffet that was always organized. Amongst the food, there was mopani worms. And shockingly, whenever you eat mopani worms, you are given a certificate. So I have more than 7 certificates for each year because of my traveling. I mean, every year, at least twice or 3 times, we go to Zim, but twice to Vicforce. So mopani worms are just one of those delicious food, brings more protein in the body.
Yes. You have labeled yourself the traveler. Where have you been?
Well, I've been to many countries around. Let me start with Africa. I've been to Nigeria. I've been to Kenya. I've been to Tanzania.
Maybe let's do it this. Start where I have been. Also, I will say tick, and where I haven't been, I'll just keep quiet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've been to Congo, Brazzaville.
Tick.
I've been to Nigeria. I've been to Tanzania.
Tick.
I've been to Kenya.
Tick.
I've been to Zambia.
Tick.
I've been to Zimbabwe.
Tick.
I've been to Botswana.
Tick.
I've been to Namibia. I've been to Mozambique.
Tick.
I've been to Swaziland. I've been to Lesotho.
Tick.
I've been to France. I've been to Berlin. Where else? I think that's all.
My man, and this is just from a continent perspective, and locally, I'm sure you've been to other a lot of short lefts, as we call them, in and around the country. And why travel though? Why dedicate your life to traveling?
Well, TJ, my background is law. I did law in DRC, and when I came to SA, by default, then I started working for ShopRite Distribution Center for 3 to 4 years, I think. Then when friends realized that I am now in South Africa, they started calling me and asking if I can be able to arrange accommodation. Now, I will arrange accommodation. I will take them around taking sick leave and taking them around. Then I realized that the money that I'm making for taking them around, because it wasn't for free, even though they are my friends.
Yes.
I started making...
And the guys in Congo, I should also stress the fact that, and I don't know whether it's still the same, but when I was in Congo, I realized something. It's just like South Africa, where you've got the poor are very poor and the elite are extremely elite.
Correct. You are right. And remember, Congo, Angola, I forgot to mention Angola also. I've been there.
I've been to Angola as well.
Those
beautiful women in Angola, if I may say so.
Be careful, maybe your wife is listening. Okay.
Oh, my wife, she knows. Where beauty is, I don't hide around it. My wife knows that, and I tell her all the time. I say to her, and I think that's the beauty of also being married with someone who has confidence and who is content with you. Because then, as a husband or as the other partner, you can talk about anything and everything.
There's nothing wrong.
For the fact that I am married, it doesn't mean that I'm blind now.
Yes.
I can still see I call it talent, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to go for it. And I discuss that with my life. When I see someone, I say, "Hey, babe, did you see that one? Damn, had I not seen this one before you, maybe I might be there." But those are internal affairs jokes. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Then I started making more money than going to work because we were just hired, not full time. Then I discover, because I couldn't do I couldn't practice my law.
Okay.
Coming from a French country into an English country, these are two different things.
Right.
So I decided to enroll for travel management while working. That's how I decided to do travel management. Then by the time I finished, the numbers of people contacting me to come and visit South Africa was very high. Then I decided to say, well, look, I know very well French people. They are very fussy people. They don't want to speak any other, they don't want to speak any other language.
Yeah.
So let me create this niche market where I will say our company provide services to French-speaking visiting South Africa, which is an English country.
Wow.
That's where everything started. Today, we are known as the French-speaking. Whenever there is any email coming from either the National Department of Tourism or any provincial tourism speaking French, they will straight forward that email to me. That's how we have market to network to be known that we specialize in French market. Then from there, we started attending different exhibitions in the travel industry, where we meet now people from different countries. If I've been to some of these countries, it's only because those countries, they decided to invite us as Mount Zion Tours and Travel, which is our company, to go and sample, to go and experience their products. I mean, I'm talking about the Zimbabwe Tourism Authority. They've become so friend, whereby any event in the travel and tourism happening in Zimbabwe, whenever they have to look for tour operators, they have to look for destination management company, our company names is always on the list where you get invited, you go around, you go and sample the product. And whenever we receive requests, remember, whenever we receive any requests from overseas, because our market is most overseas, even though time like winter during we have African market, but I would say the big slice of cake comes from overseas. Whenever they want to visit South Africa, they will ask, I have 12 nights for my holiday. How can I enjoy? Then we suggest that they visit South Africa, then with extension with another neighboring countries. Now, if I have visited Zimbabwe, Botswana, all these neighboring countries, that's when we are going to suggest one of the countries where it can be a 2 night, 3 days.
Right.
Exactly. So travel, it's a business that I've been doing all along.
Yeah.
So I've traveled to places where sometimes fear have gone out of me.
Sure.
I've slept in a 5-star hotel. I've slept outside under the sun. I've slept in the bush, in the camp. So that's me. That's the experience I got from traveling.
That's a priceless experience there, Willy, because I think for me, what traveling does for me, it opens up my mind to possibilities that I can do. I'll give you an example. I traveled to Bloemfontein at one point, and I just saw how the guys were doing student accommodation. And we were not doing student accommodation at the time. When I came back, I called my business partner and I said, my friend, we are missing out. There's something that is called student accommodation. I think let's try to understand it. But the thing is that if I had not traveled, I don't think that I would have ever discovered that gem.
Exactly.
You know? And I think for me, traveling, as I have traveled all the time, there's always something that is going to stick with me that I want to bring home, to localize it. And the question that I ask is, how do they do it? And why are we not doing it? And that's been my journey of traveling. So yeah, but really, I want to ask of you a question that when you were starting off, you were working for ShopRite at the time. So obviously language was a barrier at the time.
Yes.
Were you already English speaking at the time, or you had to learn from start?
If I have to tell you this, the little story about my English, I think you're going to laugh.
Yeah.
I used to be in DRC. I used to be those students, when the English teacher comes in, I go out. Because,
but that's the of French though.
Yes, then I told myself, what will I do with English?
Right.
And I remember this poor English teacher will always say, some of you, one day, you will remember me. You will see me standing in front of you when you are going to need English. TJ, this was the case, as I mentioned, by default. When I enter South Africa, I saw my English teacher standing in front of me saying, today is the day.
Oh, no.
Then automatically, what I did is I accepted the mistake I did. And I told myself, I'm not going to be into the French environment. I speak already French.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to be around people who speak English. Starting by, because when I came to Joburg, my elder sister was already here. And she had a small child of 4 or 5 years. Then I decided watching TV, news, without even listening what was happening.
Yeah.
I decided reading newspaper.
Right.
Then my conversation with the small child was uniquely in English.
Okay.
The English that I'm talking today, I never went to school and sit down and say, okay, this is how you pronounce, this is how you do. Not at all. I just told myself, this is how I'm going to teach myself. I remember when I registered for travel and tourism, my first test was in English. I cried before going because I asked myself, really? No, this is true. I cried, tears came out. Now you are going to write your test in English.
Wow.
And when I passed, I got my result. I couldn't believe that what encourages me. And I told myself, if I can succeed learning a foreign language, then where does this word impossible comes from?
Come on.
Because then many of the friends were like, no, you're studying in English. There is nothing, you are going to fail. You know, these negative words coming from left and right. But I remained focused. That's how I never went to school. But I started referring other people were coming to say, look, don't go my way, because I was very courageous. And the other thing is I capitalized on the English behavior, people's behavior. Remember with French, when you don't speak correctly French, I will be mocking you.
Yes.
Openly.
Yes.
I will show you with my face like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I will make you feel bad. That's how French people are, which is totally different with the English people. Whether you speak your English like I was broken when I was, it's not an issue as long as the message can be conveyed. As long as you can pass the message. That's the one thing I liked about English. And I tried to do my best to make sure that I can be able to communicate properly. And I always tell people with a French background, I'm not obliged to speak like an American or like an English person, because English is not my language.
Right.
Exactly. So I can speak with my accent, either from African continent or any other local languages, I'm proud of it.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So that's how I learn English.
That is good, man, because I think a lot of times we never see language as a barrier. We see a lot of things as barriers, like money, access to this and this. But then when we come to simple things like languages, we are of the assumption that, anyone can converse. But I almost want to talk to the point that there you are not good in the English language. You want to do business with people that are English speaking. So naturally, your second hurdle is now confidence of just speaking, because you don't even know how to speak that language. So now how do you do business with people when the language is not even there? A lot of people think that maybe if they don't know the lingo, that's already, for you, that was problem number 3. Problem number 1 was just to understand the language. And then problem number 2 is being confident in that language now for you to be able to do business. And that you have already overcome in these last 20 odd years that you've been in the country. And you've got a business, and neighboring countries rely on you, on your expertise to bring in business to their countries. Countries, I know Lesotho, they're quite big on the French people and the English people coming to them.
Yes.
So is Swaziland, so is Zimbabwe,
yes.
So is Botswana. Mozambique, I'm not so sure.
Not much.
Right, because they are Portuguese speaking, so they potentially rely on their Portuguese countries to give them more traffic there.
If you don't mind that you have touched Mozambique, let me give you an indication of when I was still working at ShopRite.
Yeah.
A friend of mine came and said, I'm just coming from Mozambique, Maputo. Last week I was not at work. This is what I discovered. You see the takeaway papers, we put food.
Yeah.
It says, I've just made a kill in Maputo. I was like, eh? Are you sure? It says, I've just made a kill. Then I decided to introduce a sick leave. Then it was time for me to go around, purchase all those stuff. The next morning, I was on Intercape into Maputo.
Right.
Without knowing any word except bon dia, como está, está bem, obrigado.
Yeah.
Those are the only words I knew. But I decided, I said, look, if there is business opportunity in Maputo, language will never be a barrier to me. I got into Maputo, I was in. Now, languages. You know what? From the hotel, I ask. Now, whatever I was told is not true because I'm on the ground now. When I ask around, they say, no, already the market has been saturated around here. There's no way that with that price, you are going to make anything unless you go another 45 to 60 kilometers out of Maputo. I looked already because I only took 3 days.
Right.
So I was supposed to be back. Then I decided, look, how can I get there? They told me where I can get transport. I was into the transport. I just asked, how much is it? I make sure that I got the money that I'm supposed to pay. No change, the correct money. And I know the place where, because it was a big market. I got into the public transport. Then I was dropped at the place. When I arrived there, guess now who were my buyers? Chinese. Oh, I saw Chinese. I said, well, if they are Chinese, they can speak English.
Sure.
What a huge disappointment. When I approached them, Chinese they speak Portuguese.
Oh, no.
Then I say, look, I'm already here. The guys are interested into my product. Guess what? It was an issue now of calculator. I put the amount, I show them. They say, They put the amount, they show me. I say, I put my amount, I show them. Until when we agree and the deal was done. Not even speaking one language, but just the aid to say, I agree, I don't agree. I agree, I don't agree. And that was how I have to do my business. I was back at the hotel, and the following day, back in SA.
Willie, I want to touch on something here. And I almost want to say that living in South Africa it gives you a bit of comfort of your surroundings. You kind of like know where the income is coming from. But what you have just described, I have seen it so much in Africa, where guys hear of an opportunity and shoot, they get up and they chase for that opportunity. There is no due diligence around it. There is no, is it going to work? Is it not going to work? They have the gut feel that it's going to work. They go and jump and then they do it. And that's a survival instinct behavior. Where you know that I'm going to make it work. I don't know how, but I'm going to make it work. And I had that spirit at one point, in my early 20s, and I think going to work and getting that salary coming in every month, the spirit died at the point until I started resonating up, and I was asking the question to say, how much more do I want to put on my table for my family? And I realized that I was now deep in comfort, like very, very deep in comfort. And I looked back and I said, I've been to Congo. I've been to Namibia. I was selling stuff. I was taking risk. I was doing this. I've sold Forex before. I've done many entrepreneurial things that I've done. And all of this has died within the last 5 to 10 years. And I've become a paper pusher in the workplace. And by the way, nothing wrong with paper pushing in the workplace. But is that what really your heart desires? And I picked up my soul at that time and I was like, no, this is not me. Because this here is going to give me a job until I'm 60 or 65. And for the rest of my life, I'm going to have a pension somewhere. And I started looking at my own parents at that time, Willie. And I started looking at how much they were getting as a pension, $5. And I said to myself, I don't want to be another statistic of $5.
Correct.
In South Africa, SASSA gives people what, 1,500, those that are elderly. Is that enough? It's not enough to be doing anything, And I started looking for other opportunities. How best can I do it? And today you have done that now. You have created a business, and this business is, we can sell it. We can safely say that it is the gateway of the French-speaking community into Africa. That's what we can say.
Correct.
Now, what do you do in property? So this is the business that facilitates the French-speaking people. But yes, I know you playing heavily in property. So is this related somehow or it's not at all?
I would say there is some link between the travel and the property. Because what happened is later on, when I decided to have a family, we bought a flat with 3 bedrooms. Those old flats where you found the lounge can be divided in 2 or 3 bedrooms, including the balcony. I think you know those type of, yes, exactly.
I love those ones. That's my cornerstone of my business.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So then when it comes to booking, remember through travel, I created a network of people who have got guest houses, people who have got properties, you know. They come and advertise to you so that when clients are looking for a place to stay, you are the first contact. And if I know that TJ have got a guest house, then definitely I will make sure that I book my guest at TJ's guest house.
Right.
Then from there, when we moved from our apartment, I decided to use it now for rentals, put tenant.
Okay.
Yes, decided to put tenant. But before me with property in SA, just to give you an idea, back home, we had a very huge stand where I grew up, where I was born.
Yeah.
Back in Congo, yes. So what happened is we had, I'm coming from a family of 13 people, one mother, one father, 3 years.
Sure. And you are number
all of us
5.
Excuse me?
You are number 5.
Yes. So one passed away. What happened is my father had to build a huge house. Then when all of us decided to move out because we have scattered all over the world.
Yeah.
My mother now is at home. Then we decided, when my father passed away, they decided to build a church. Actually, it was the pastor who approached them and said, look, your plot is at the prime location where I would like my church to be. Right. Can I build a church in your premises? We agree on the contract. After 4 or 5 years, then the building belongs to you. Then the mother contacted us. We agree and said, look, you are not losing anything. Let the pastor build a church. Then after that, the contract, everything, how much you spend, then the building will remain to us. After the lease agreement, the agreement was expired, then we realized the money, the rental that the pastor was paying is far less if we can convert the church into a storage.
Okay.
Looking again at the location, because we knew very well that people who have got storage are making far more money than the church.
Right.
That's how we decided to convert the church into a storage. And we decided also to add some back rooms. So that's where actually the idea of property started. Then when coming now to SA, as I mentioned, from one flat, then decided, okay, what's the next movement? Again, having friends who are clients coming from DRC, they might not all afford to stay in a hotel, whether it's in Santon or around, but they just want a place to sleep.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when I traveled to Namibia for the first time, I go to a place where I met almost the whole Africa at that house.
Yeah.
Because they just come there to sleep, but they are coming to buy stuff. Some they are in transit. So we decided to create something where at least it can accommodate those ones who like privacy, but at the same time, those ones who are just looking for a place to sleep, you know. That's where actually when I realized that look, Africa, we are blessed. We are not in a continent where we have natural disaster like earthquake. So if today I decide to buy a property, this is an investment that I can be able to do. And it's not like a car when you buy it now, 250, just by coming out of the car dealers, it has lost value. No, property actually, there is always value. I will say from the time you build it, well looked, there is value that you are adding to the property.
Right.
So that's the background of me having at least an idea of, I mean, when it's come to property.
That's quite interesting, Willy. And I know that you do Airbnb. And I have spoken to people before, and I've said to people, with Airbnb, you don't need to own the properties.
Correct.
You can start Airbnb without even any of your own properties, and you can make money out of it.
Yes.
You sound to me like you are at the pinnacle of that, because you have lots of traffic that's coming through from people. You know when they are coming, you know how long they're going to be staying here. So you can actually prepare for it here by going through to rent a few properties, you turn them into Airbnb. Is this something that you do or something that you have thought of doing in the Airbnb? What do you do in Airbnb?
Well, in Airbnb,
yeah,
so short-term rentals, I am a host and
right.
I am also a co-host.
Okay. What's the difference between the two?
The difference is when I say I am a host, it means I have my own property,
right,
which I have listed it on Airbnb, and people pays me for coming and sleeping.
Right.
That's me being a host. When I say I am a co-host, it means, TJ, you have your own property, which is finished. Then you decide to contact me, or I contact you and say, TJ, the property that you are having, sometimes actually I've seen the rise of property owners deciding now to move from having one tenant the conventional way into Airbnb because of what we have seen concerning COVID. So a co-host now is me. I'm doing the management of your property. From advising on a professional photography, doing the listing, communicating with the guest, screening the guest, making sure that your listing always stands in front on the first page whenever someone is looking for a place to stay in your area. Then now I am a co-host, which comes with a certain fees that now we request from every confirmed booking. So on Airbnb short-term rentals, I am a host, and at the same time, I am a co-host.
Which puts you in a very good position because you do have traffic already from your communities. And as I know, a lot of the European guys, once they like a certain place, they book this year, and the next year they book again. And so it goes on for the next couple of years. So you can almost see the schedule for some people, not unless, life changes, like we have seen in COVID. But you have religious holiday makers that come in. Now, Will, I want to speak to you about something else that's a little bit different from what you do in the business. You are married to a South African, you are French speaking. How do you balance the relations of your culture versus her culture to create your new culture of this home in your relationship as a husband and wife and in doing the business? Because doing business, suppose as French speaking, there are certain things that you can do and your wife might totally not understand that and she'll say, why are you doing that? And yet it comes very natural to you.
I agree with you, TJ, and I like what you mentioned, how you decided to describe you or your relationship with your wife. Me being into a travel industry, when I met my wife, yes, actually it was through our church, but for me first to choose her, I look back about the culture where she comes from. It's like almost if I was back, this is the tribe that I was going. to choose
Okay.
to get a wife. There was some similarity. Then I decided, okay, this is where I'm going to build my castle. Then the next thing now was me as a French person, how first to understand the English culture.
Right.
Because remember, as a husband, you're the aide, so you are the ones who be leading.
Right.
I try my best. Even now, I'm still learning about it. But I think the other part that facilitated the things to go smoothly, it was because we were both fellowshipping together.
Good. Yeah.
Exactly.
So there was a common ground.
Yes, there was a common ground, and we were all drinking from the same source.
Sure.
And whatever that was given to us, it was not, this is for this culture, this is for this culture. I remember
in our household, we call it the Jesus culture. We don't have any other culture besides the Jesus culture in our house.
There you go, exactly. The Jesus class culture. It helps a lot. I remember traveling, traveling, you are getting exposed to everything. But knowing who you are, that's what will make you stand.
Right.
My wife at one time, I remember, she was now sharing with me as they were, because she's in a corporate.
Yeah.
Now a friend will like, are you not jealous to see your husband traveling all over? And sometimes if you look at my profile, you will see me in my travel industry. I am cool with everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know my boundaries. I know how far I can go. So it nearly creates some insecurity. But knowing yourself and trusting who the husband is, you told them, look, there's nothing. There is nothing, that's just work. Because as long as you go for work and you come, there is no time whereby now when you have to answer your phone, you go to the bathroom, you take your phone in your pocket.
Yeah.
There's no such. A phone is there, the phone rings, and you understand? Yeah. So that's actually, I would say, I'm the one also who created that environment to say, look, this is work. And when I'm home, I'm home. Everything is simple, is clear, and you know what I'm saying? So, and also, whenever we have to travel for holidays as a family, I make sure that I used the place where I went. Okay. Actually, I always tell them, me going with you as a family on holiday, to me, it's not holiday. It's also work. Sure. And this now takes me to the point whereby even if I go for holiday, even if I go for work, I have this eye open for property business.
Sure.
I create that network, yes.
Yeah, that's
I get their contact, I introduce myself.
Yeah.
And if there's any need, as you have mentioned also, when I have guests wanting to, some of the guests, they will know the area where they want to stay. But some of them, they totally rely on you because you are an expert. You are an advisor. You are a professional in the travel. Then you can look and say, okay, how much can this guest afford? Is it a 3-star hotel? Is it a 4-star? Is it a 5-star, a lodge, or a guest house, or they just want an apartment?
Or an Airbnb for that.
Or Airbnb. Actually, let me say something, TJ, about Airbnb. I know in South Africa, Airbnb is not well known as overseas. No wonder I'm getting these days almost messages whereby when you mention Airbnb in something, a person have to pay, for example, 700. They are shocked. Yeah. Then when I ask further question and say, okay, what were you expecting? They say, no, I was expecting 300. What does it mean? It means in South Africa, people are still considering Airbnb like a cheap place to stay, which is not totally true. If you go to Airbnb, you are going to find what they call Airbnb Plus.
Right.
These are well decorated houses who are even used for movie shooting.
Okay.
Yes, you are going to find villas. You are going to find lodges that are well decorated. Now, how do you expect such a place to have a rate which is very low? So those are the things that we are trying to educate people in, especially in South Africa, to say Airbnb does not mean cheap. Right. I mean, my father told me, my son, don't ever buy or go for anything cheap, because anything cheap, you are going to pay for it. Yes, you are going to pour more money out.
Willy, you've been in business now for a while, and I am sure that when you started off your business, in the different facets now it has become, what are some of the benefits that you are seeing now or seeing to say, when I started off, I was thinking that this is going to happen, this is going to happen. And those were very futuristic things for you. And today you can actually touch and feel it, and you can like say, this is where I am today in terms of my benefits. What are those benefits?
The benefit I can say is everything started with a dream.
Right.
If you have a dream, what will I say? What is a dream? Picture it.
Yeah.
I like the example I always tell people, and you will agree with me. Whenever a developer wants to build a 4-5 stories mansion, they put a billboard. They tell you, they show you the finished work before they started.
Right.
Same apply.
And that's what we buy into.
Exactly. Same apply a dream. If you can picture it, then there is nothing that can stop me from achieving it.
Good, good.
If you cannot picture it, then you are going to venture, you start in travel. When travel is not working somewhere, you find yourself now in hardware. When hardware is not working, you find yourself in shoes. And yes. I'm not saying, yes, Bitcoin, yes.
Yeah.
But if you can picture it, then you can endure the time, the obstacle that you are going to face. Because that picture will be your roadmap.
Yeah.
I mean, and also I will say, the minute you have a blueprint, then you know very well. My spiritual father always says, if whatever you are doing, you don't find any obstacle, you don't find anything that is blocking you, it means you and Satan, you are working together.
That one is a deep one. It's exactly. A deep one.
Yes. So if
we need to go to church on.
If you found objections, if you found obstacle, I mean, he always says, as a businessman, when you have breakfast is obstacle issues, then what will be your lunch and your dinner? So these obstacles, the failure, they are not failure if you have learned from it, unless if you decide to build a monument and start celebrating. The image that I was having about business, when you start seeing, I'm going to give you an example. 2006-07, I went around Gandhi Square.
Yeah.
I say, Lord, I'm looking for an office. I didn't know, but I said, my office, I want it to be around here. 2 years later, I got a lease 2 streets behind Gandhi Square.
Wow.
What does it mean? I spoke. I saw myself going to that office. And guess what? As I'm dressing like this smart, I dressed like this the first day I got the key, going to the office. There was no furniture. My wife laughed at me. I put my necktie, a suit. I took my laptop. I went to the office to get the key. I sat on the floor and I said, this is what I prayed for 2 years ago. I had the opportunity. Some friend took me to Braamfontein. I went there. I saw something, but within me, I said, no, but I remember, I wanted my office to be at Gandhi Square. So what I'm trying to say is, the small idea that you had, when you start seeing it coming true, coming to pass, you wanted to own a fleet. I saw myself branding our fleet in French, telling the people we are offering excursions in French. When I saw the fleet, I said, wow, this is what I've been thinking. So these small things coming to pass realization, that what makes you say, oh, okay, I am on the right track. Yes, it doesn't matter how long it takes. You went to the bank. I remember I was turned down. I was told, no, you are not qualifying. But a few months later, I got not a friend. I call this person an angel. I don't know him. We met at the Department of Transport. Then he told me, no, I have a connection where you can get quantum. I say, are you sure? What I was looking for a year, 12 months to get finance for the fleet, it took me 3 months. I got a fleet.
Wow.
That's how sometimes, but your desire to see yourself achieving, your desire to see yourself where you want to be. Actually, when people start celebrating, I always tell people, whenever you see me receiving any award or being celebrated for whatever achievement, when you are congratulating me, I'm no longer there because I saw this coming before.
Come on.
Yes, I saw this coming before. Then, what next?
Yeah, what's next?
Exactly.
That's amazing. That's amazing, Willy. Willy, if you were to give advice to your younger self in the early 20s, with what you now know today,
yes,
what would you give that advice? What would be that advice?
My advice will be patience first. Be patient. Because I've seen so many young people today, they have put a time frame. I need to achieve in 2 years.
Yeah.
And TJ, I started this business from an internet cafe. I'm talking about 2006. Before even getting my BlueBerry phone, which was my first office.
Yeah.
You go into an internet cafe, by the time you're about to send a quotation, your 30 minutes has expired.
Right.
You get my point? But I did not give up. I saw myself having an office, then it came to pass. So for the young people, what I can advise is be patient. First of all, have a dream.
Yeah.
Remain focused. Yes, there will be time of shaking, moments to test your dream. Is your dream something that you can die for? I always tell my wife, I can die for my dream. I'm ready to die for my dream.
The mission is strong.
Yes,
the mission
exactly.
is strong. It has to be strong.
Exactly. So even her, she knows very well when it's come to anything related to the dream of this man is ready to die for it. Have something that you can die for. Because the minute you have that, you are going to endure anything, you are going to persevere. I mean, I remember walking to my office. I was feeling very happy. I did not see anything. I mean, I had friends already that time, some they were driving, but to me, I knew my time was not bound to anything. Because you find today, people, they just want to achieve. Anyhow, they just want to achieve. But if you are not ready to pay the price, then anyone can come and tell you, hey, there is another business here. I mean, I've got friends, I saw them. There is another opportunity. And also, I remember I decided now to acquire more knowledge in the field. Yes, in the field where I am. If we are called today, I mean, expert in the French market, or even what I'm doing with Airbnb, it's because each and every day I make sure that whether I read, whether I go on YouTube, whether I go to live session.
Yeah.
So knowledge is power. That's 100%. The advice I can give to the young people.
Yeah, that is amazing. My mentor, my current mentor now, he says to me, TJ, anyone can walk on a glass road of 1 kilometer for as long as the price is right.
Correct.
And if you're not walking on glass to get onto the other side, the price is not good. It's 1 million.
Yes.
So you're comfortable. If there's 1 billion, we can all walk on glass.
Yes.
And we'll get there.
Definitely.
So I think that speaks to the dream, that speaks to the mission, that speaks to the prize. And I'm glad that you have highlighted this. Willy, in closing, my question to you is, what is success for you? What is success? What does it look like?
Question. Yes. Very, very good question. To me, I describe success when anything that I have achieved can benefit someone else.
Good.
I describe success if I am able to assist the community. Any person in my surrounding, or any person who can benefit from whatever that I have achieved today, I will call it success. The minute I started impacting other people's life, I will call it success. You cannot quantify it. You cannot put it in a box. But as I said, when whatever achievement that comes from me, other people can be able to benefit or change their life, to me, I will say that's success.
Wow. I think that closes all. I think at this time, I just want to say merci beaucoup.
Merci à moi de vous remercier.
Thank you for your time. Look, it's amazing how distant we are as people, and how close our lives are so parallel to each other. And as you spoke, you know, we have met in events and things like that, but we've never had like a conversation like this.
Correct.
And our lives are so similar, it's not even funny. You know? And I think if people could get that we're just all just human beings, and we are potentially living in parallel lines, we can just be able to help, either just sharing each other's stories to help the other person, or to just be able to connect to the other person to create value for them. I think our communities will be a better community.
Definitely, I agree with you. Sharing my experience, learning from you, that's what can make one person better.
Yeah, amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Willy, and Willy, the fifth born. So that's why they call him Willy Kalala. Yeah. I cannot say that because I am the only child of my parents, and there's no one before me, there's no one after me. So I don't know. What would you call me? Kala?
No.
Yeah.
There is a name of these kids that they don't allow others to follow, to come after them. I just forgot.
Now you're making it sound like it's my fault. No, it's not my fault. They didn't want to engage.
Sorry. There is a name for that, but I just forgot. Anyway, as you mentioned, it's not your fault. I mean, the one who gives is the one who decides. The one who, I mean, our lives are not in our own hands. Sure. There is someone who decides before even you were born. So nothing, but I believe now you are making sure that you are creating a big family.
Not as big as where you come from. I've said to the Lord, 2 is enough.
Oh, okay. I have 1, and I've been criticized left and right and left to say no. I'm selfish. I say, look, I remember when growing up, my father took me to a shop, and I wanted a certain pair of shoes, which on that time it was the shoe that every boy, teenager, is supposed to wear. When we arrived in the shop, I rushed to that pair of shoes. He looked at the shoe and he said to me, "You are not the only one.
Oh,
so we need to take something below."
Right.
And this is something that happened. Yes, this is something that happened years, but I still remember. So I don't want my child, my kid also to go the same thing, but somewhere, somehow, what can we do?
Amazing stuff.
Exactly.
Willy, thanks a lot for having us and sharing your story with us. I think personally, many things that I've learned from your journey, and I can reflect, I can start. The one thing that you have now just has resonated with me again, having to speak to you, is the fire in my belly still burning?
Correct.
Right. You know, you reminded me that you can go to an unknown place and you can do business. You reminded me of that. You reminded me the fact that you don't have to know everything, and business is about survival, and you can survive it if you're just putting in the rightful places. So you've reignited fire in my belly today. Thank you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Willy Kalala and the Traveler. We will see you on the next video.